News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. Brand new Fannie Mae guidelines go into effect tomorrow. Could they make your dream home a reality? Plus, what do you do if you've signed a contract with a contractor and an agreed price, and when the job's done, the contractor wants more money? We'll break it down. Also, we'll talk about the latest buzz in home financing. You've heard of 15-year, 30-year, 40-year mortgages. Now 50-year mortgages are on the table. We'll talk about that. And for all homeowners, I'll share 12 things a plumber wishes we all knew. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team, Remax Properties East. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. Boy, the weather has turned cold quickly and with a vengeance. Hopefully things will warm up and for a little bit, and then we'll really hit winter. With us, great group of people to answer your questions. We've got Lee Harris, who's legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow, and they do a great job at closing loans, but also title searches, examinations, escrow services, title insurance, things like that. And you can get a hold of Lee and her team. And this, by the way, is her direct cell phone number. Try it. 502-649-7964. Lee is an attorney who knows her stuff. 502-649-7964. Also with us, Randy Rocky. He is one of the head guys over at Swan Financial. What I love about Swan is they will actually shop the loan to get you the very best rate. And so you'll never be saying to myself, well, I wish I would have gotten this rate or that rate. You'll have gotten that rate with Swan. You can reach Randy and his folks, 502-645-0736. And if you are thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to help you. No home too big or too small. And I work in Louisville, Southern Indiana, surrounding counties. And call me. It's a free, no obligation discussion. And come out, spend as much time as you want, and we'll talk about the process. And if you like, we'll move forward. If not, no problem. No harm, no foul. You can reach me on my cell phone at 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com and fill out the form, click submit. And for a free, no obligation estimate of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com, click on the top of the page, and then just fill out the information. And you will get, within a couple of seconds, actually, an estimate of what the home is worth. Okay. Let's get to one of the top things that we'll discuss here. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Fannie Mae is removing the credit score minimum tomorrow. So what is that going to mean for buyers who are listening to us right now?
I hate to bust everybody's bubble. Not a lot.
Oh.
So a couple things is when you get it below 620, the rate adjustments are tremendous or 660 really with conventional. And in all scenarios, I haven't had one in years where FHA, even with their PMI, is private mortgage insurance is a much better option. So there will be probably not a lot of change. They're probably trying to play in that sandbox with FHA, but if they're going to do that, they're going to have to really lower their rates in that credit score box. They're really strong. Once you get above 680, really 720 conventional makes more sense than FHA in most scenarios. But when you're in that below 680 box, it's usually the rate is so different, it just doesn't make sense to go conventional.
And different equals higher in your speak when you say
yes, much higher.
Yeah.
Much higher. Net it just doesn't make sense for my clients.
So all right, just let me play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
So they reduce the credit score. Won't that open up the picture for maybe first-time home buyers who are credit challenged, or people who have had problems in the past whose credit score is not in the sixes? But with this opening, doesn't that give them something to shoot for, to be able to at least get into a home?
I don't think so. And I really mean this because conventional is a lot lower debt to income ratio approval than FHA, about 12% less. So so your debt compared to your income. So in my opinion, this is a nothing burger.
Okay. All right. We'll see how that flushes out. We'll come back to Randy for more in just a couple of moments. Let's go over to Lee Harris, who is with Limestone Title and Escrow. And Lee, Johnny is the next person up here on our show, selling his home. Just recently had a new roof installed. The problem is the roofing company called to tell him it took longer to put the roof on the house. For the quoted price for the roof replacement was based on a one-day replacement. It actually took 2 days, Johnny says. He says he has a contract for a price, but the roofing company is asking for more money because it took more time to put the roof on. And so Johnny is wondering, and I think all of our listeners are doing the same thing. Well, can the roofing company actually ask for more money? And what happens if Johnny says no and he doesn't pay the added charges?
That's a great question. So I'm so glad to hear that he has a contract. For all of you out there listening, if you're going to do any kind of vendor relationship, definitely get a contract. Johnny, the first thing is to read that contract and make sure that you're not missing anything in the fine print that says if it takes 2 days, we can change the price. But assuming there's nothing that's gives them the contractual right to change, then the estimate that you agreed upon, the amount you agreed upon, the time frame you agreed upon, you should be able to stick with that. I think probably if they knew it was going to be another day, they should have come to you before it was done and try to negotiate a different price. But either way, your contract should stand unless they have given themselves some kind of out.
Which probably would need a legal opinion. Yeah, Randy, go ahead.
Yeah, and especially on a roof, because all roofers go by the square. So it's 100 square feet equals 1 square. So it's not even like you open up a wall and you and on a remodel and there's some extra plumbing pipes in the middle. So I don't think they have a leg to stand on, especially on a roofing situation.
Maybe their workers were just slow.
Yeah, that may be.
Well, and that's fine. Usually they're paid by the square. They're subcontracted out, but that's another story for another day.
So wait, one final thought on this. So he's saying he's thinking about selling his home. And could the roofing company, even though he's lived up to his side of the contract, could they put a lien against the house to prevent him from selling or having to be paid on this?
Well, they could certainly put a lien. It's called a mechanic's lien when you have some kind of a vendor who believes they're owed money. However, it's very dangerous to do that if you are the vendor, unless you are 100% sure that you are correct, that you're owed this money, because that's called clouding the title. It's called slander of title. So if Johnny went to sell his house and they had an erroneous lien on there and he could show that, that vendor could be liable for a lot of damages, such as him not being able to close on his house or, a lot of money out of pocket if he had to get an attorney, all that kind of thing. So it's not a good idea unless they have an airtight contract that says that they're allowed to bill him more money, which I'm doubtful about. I think he probably owes what he already agreed upon.
Not the new number, the higher number. Okay. All right, Lee. Reminder, you can hear a replay of this show. We make this very simple. Go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's a redirect to our YouTube channel where these shows reside, and you can see this in other shows and listen to it and see it. Again, it's a video recording that we're doing on Zoom as we speak. Also, if you'd like to see what sellers are saying about us and buyers, because we have 10 buyer agents who are more than happy to help anybody who's looking to buy a home, go to LouisvilleGoogle.com. or LouisvilleZillow.com and read our reviews. Randy, Rocky, Swan Financial.
Yeah.
Okay, this week, announcement from the government. They are proposing, this is maybe being flown up the flagpole, but I don't know if anyone's saluting it yet, proposing a 50-year mortgage rate.
Yeah.
Now, hype? Will it help? Is there any way this one would help buyers?
Well, here's the thing, Bob. Over all the years we've been doing this program, I want to thank you when we have questions come back like this that you think we're going to need some preparation. You send it to me. You do a phenomenal job hosting this show.
Yeah, okay.
And so this is what I did. So on NMLS number 26362. So just like a 15-year over a 30-year mortgage, 15-year is less interest rate. So we're going to just assume, and I'm being conservative, that a 3/8 point higher on a 50-year compared to a 30-year. The reason the 40-year didn't work because there wasn't that much difference in payment. So let me break this down to you very quickly. On a $300,000 loan at 6.5% interest on a 30-year fix, APR 6.72. The principal and interest payment is $1,896.20. The total interest paid is $382,633. On the same $300,000 loan on a 50-year, and I'm doing a 6.875%, which is conservative, APR 7.01. The monthly payment drops only $120. It's $1,776.42 a month. Total interest paid, this is a big one.
This is the big one.
$765,849. So
Wow.
So you're paying compared to the 30 to the 50 year, And again, only $120 difference in payment, $383,216 more in interest. So almost double. So my kids will not be getting a 50-year mortgage.
But let me play again. I'll play devil's advocate.
Sure,
I'm taking the
absolutely.
positive on this, and Lee, jump in here if you want.
Sure.
So no one I know stays in a house for 50 years, right?
I'm not saying you do.
Yeah. So typically, folks, the average person moves every 3, 5, 7 years. That's the standard, right?
7.1.
Oh, okay. Call me a liar for a 0.1. So typically, you're not going to be paying that full freight, that 300 and some odd thousand. But could that 50-year at least drop the payment down enough to make it worthwhile, or make the affordable price of the mortgage for a buyer? Am I speaking your
Yes,
language?
on a $300,000 loan, you're going to save $120 on payment.
And that could be the difference between qualifying.
100%.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying,
Yes.
let's look at the silver lining. Not that it's going to be for everybody, but and when you talk about 50-year mortgage, I mean, that's just, I know no one's going to stay in the house. But it's 3, 5, 7 years. Remember that, folks. Okay.
Right.
Before we take a break, we'll go
7.1.
7.1. Yeah, right. Lee Harris, limestone title. Sammy has a serious problem, needs our help. She listens to our show all the time. She bought a house 2 years ago, had it inspected. It showed no problems. Now she wants to sell, but the walls, as they reach the ceiling, are cracking throughout much of the house. It's almost as if the roof is coming off the house. And every time the roof moves, the drywall cracks and tears.
Okay.
She said something's wrong. She's not sure how to proceed. So it's been 2 years. Does she have legal action against the seller, who she thinks may have actually also been a flipper? And that's a story for another time about the flipping problems we're seeing. Lee?
Yeah. So, Sammy, the first thing is you should get a professional out there. It could be a foundation issue. It could be a roof issue, as you said. It could be something that's making the house is either settling or the roof is not put on correctly. It's important to do that because that's a structural issue of your property. And any future buyer will want to know about that as well. And you would want to know how much that's going to cost for anyone to fix, you or the buyer, because that will affect, obviously, your price when you are listing your property. The second thing is, Bob asked, do you have any recourse against the seller? The longer you get from the closing date, the longer you've been living in the property, obviously, the less likely it is that you can create a nexus between this problem and the person who sold you the property. It's not impossible. There certainly could be things that are latent defects that the seller may have known about and didn't disclose, and it's just now sort of rearing its ugly head 2 years in. If you can prove that through either a professional, through a neighbor, through a combination of both, then it's possible that you could be able to recoup damages from the seller of the property. And that, if you're in Louisville, that would be done through a mediation and arbitration process. So you don't have to go to court. You could try to resolve it at mediation, which is a relatively inexpensive and quick process.
But it's a year from the date of
that you discovery,
or discover from, not from when you purchased it,
right?
But from when you discovered it.
Yes, 365 days. So if you discovered this more than 365 days ago, your statute of limitations, quote unquote, is over. If you discovered this last month, then you have another 335 days or so to bring a claim if you can show that there's a connection there.
Okay. There's more to this as a problem, folks, because if she sells, even if she had the walls fixed, she would need to disclose that there was a problem, just ethically and morally, on a disclosure. Otherwise, it could come back to bite her. But that's exactly what happened to her apparently, when she bought the house. The flipper never disclosed that there was a problem. So there we go. All right. A reminder, if you'd like to see what people are saying about us at closing tables. I put up a couple of new videos recently. Go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, and you will see some of the videos that we do at closing and that I've done. Coming up in just a few minutes, 12 things a plumber wishes we knew. Interesting what we're going to discuss. I know I was shocked when I saw this stuff. It's good stuff. Continuing with us after the break, Lee Harris, legal counsel, limestone, title, and escrow. Her direct cell phone number, 649-7964. Also, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, where they shop the loan. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home, no home too big, no home too small, Bob Sokoler here. I am applying for the job. Call me for a free, no obligation discussion on what the path looks like. 376-5483. That's 376 live. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com. We are back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS. Bob Sokoler, Louisville Real Estate Show, back with you till the top of the hour. And thank you, Barbara Corcoran, who's great mentor, friend, and who endorses us, but also she's on Shark Tank. She's a great lady, and we do appreciate her friendship. Staying with us till the top of the hour, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They shop the loan. They get you the best rate. That's important. And Randy's very knowledgeable, and so are all the people on his team. You can reach Swan Financial, 502-645-0736. Also continuing with us, Lee Harris, Legal Counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a great job of closing the loan, but they do the due diligence, plus they do title searches and examinations, escrow services, title insurance, and the like. You can reach Lee on her cell phone, 502-649-7964. And thinking of selling, I would love to apply for the job. Louisville, surrounding counties, southern Indiana, that's where I work. And I will answer the phone. I try to answer it 24/7. You can reach me, my direct cell, 376-5483. That's 376 live, or you can call me anytime and email me anytime, bob@wesellouisville.com. And also go to bobsellslouisville.com, click on the top of the page where the information is, and just fill it out and hit submit. All right, here we go. 12 things plumber wishes we knew. Let's face it, plumbing problems occur, but here's what we should be doing to make sure we don't have to call a plumber just for small things. There are 3 P's. The only things you want to flush down the drain are pee, poop, and toilet paper. Nothing else. Wipes? No. Flushable ones? No. Clog your pipes faster than you think. Grease is your drain's worst enemy. Pouring cooking oil or grease down the sink is a recipe for disaster. It cools, hardens, and builds a nasty blockage deep in your pipes. Your garbage disposal is not a wood chipper. Avoid fibrous foods like celery, potato peels, corn husks. They tangle and jam your disposal blades. Chemical drain cleaners do more harm than good. That drip is costing you a leaking faucet, by the way, hundreds of gallons of water per year, and they drive up your bill without you even noticing it. Know where your shutoff valve is just in case of an emergency, because seconds matter. Find out now, today, right after the show, mind you, or maybe after the next show.
After the show.
Yeah, after the show and after John's show, since he's a friend. Find out where that shutoff valve is and make sure the family knows. Your water heater needs a checkup. Flushing your water heater once a year actually helps prevent the buildup and extends its life. Plumbing fixtures have a lifespan. Rubber seals, washers, hoses don't last forever. A little maintenance now prevents floods later. Toilets are not toys. Kids love experimenting, but keep them away from toilets. A DIY isn't always cheaper. A simple fix can quickly become a bigger and pricier repair, especially if you want to change, like if your toilet is leaking, because the stopper is not working properly, and you try to change that yourself, you could create it. Not that I'm advising not to try it yourself, but you could create a bigger problem. Low water pressure can be a real flag that something is going wrong, especially if you had high water pressure and then all of a sudden it disappears. And be honest about what happened. Plumbers are not there to judge. So tell the truth about what went down the drain, and that will help the plumbers fix it faster and cheaper, even if you're embarrassed. Yes, I'm going to say it, even if you're embarrassed about what went down the drain. All right, 12 things plumber wishes we knew. Hopefully now you know, and the plumbers are happy. We go over to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Randy, Tony sent us an email. She heard us talk about what's looked at by lenders a couple of shows ago to issue a home buyer pre-approval letter. But she is wondering, we never mentioned how long that pre-approval is good for.
Yeah.
Also, does it look better to a seller if the pre-approval letter was written within 30 days of an offer? Two good questions, Tony. Randy.
Well, the pre-approval letter is usually written day of, or right before they make the offer, and the pre-approval lasts for 120 days. The house has to close. If it does not close, we have to repull credit. So from the date of application to closing, it has to be 120 days. So once you get in above the 75-day range, it gets, above the, 100 100-day range, 90-day range, really, it gets a little dicey, and you really need to repull credit if they're about ready to make an offer, just to make sure everything's okay. And credit is very similar to when you pulled it originally.
All right. So recapping that part of the question,
Yeah,
it lasts 120 days, but if you're going past 90 or so days, you want to
yeah.
repull credit to make sure nothing has changed before closing, especially if you've made an offer somewhere within that first 90-day period.
That's right, because after it has to close by on day 120. If it goes day 121,
Yep.
you have to repull credit, and that's with anybody, a bank, or a broker, or a captive lender. There's
All
kind
right.
of three categories.
The second part of that question is, does it look better to a seller if the pre-approval letter was created within the last 30 days?
We always create the pre-approval day of, usually. And the reason that we do that is to make sure that we don't have any of the credit problems that are going to be coming up or whatever. So especially your team is very good at this. They call me and go, "Hey, want to make sure everything's okay, and can you get me a pre-approval letter over? Here's what our offer is going to be."
Right. And the key thing is that you can put the address of the house that the offer is being made on in the pre
Yes.
level. But
Yes.
do you put what the pre-approval is worth? In other words, how much the buyer is able to afford in the pre-approval letter?
Every agent is different. A lot of them
Yeah.
do not want to know exactly what their high-end number is.
Right. I'm a big fan of that. And right. League understands, because let's say you've got a pre-approval that says you're pre-approved for $550,000, and you put an offer in on a house for $525,000, and you submit that pre-approval letter with that offer, which is what you probably want to do. If it says you're pre-approved for $550,000, then the sellers immediately know you can pay more money if the house is.
That is correct.
Right.
And
it's a tell.
You guys are great negotiators, and that's what you get paid for.
Yeah,
Really. I
right,
mean, you're professionals.
Don't give
Thank
up your
you.
bargaining position.
No,
Yes.
never. Right.
Yes.
To all lenders, please, I'm pleading with you, don't put the dollar value of what the buyer is pre-approved for in the pre-approval letter, because it is a tell. It gives away what the buyer is worth, and that hurts in the negotiation side for a buyer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Lee Harris, limestone title. Morgan owns several properties, one of which he inherited, and he wants to sell, but he's concerned about having to pay an enormous amount of taxes on the house that he inherited. He says in this email that he sent to us, again, you can send me, folks, bob@wesellouisville.com. What do we know about inheritance taxes? Though I know, listen, we're not tax attorneys or tax accountants, but he says, is there really a 19% inheritance tax? Has any of us, I haven't, heard of a 19% inheritance tax, guys?
No. No, I have not. And it really depends on who he received it from, because if you're in a certain class of people, like if you received it from his parents, then he probably won't have any inheritance tax at all. And typically speaking, when you inherit a property, the basis goes up to the fair market value on the day that you inherited it. So even if that property had previously had $500,000, let's say, worth of equity, the basis is going to be bumped up to 500. So even if you sold it, they're probably, after you obtain it yourself out of the estate and then want to sell it sometime later, you're probably not going to have that much capital gains, because the basis has been stepped up.
Let me also point out, Morgan, don't rely on Aunt Fanny or Uncle Billy to give you tax advice, because the tax codes are constantly changing.
Yeah.
And my best suggestion for all of you is, if you've got something that is taxable, and especially in real estate, you want to talk to a good tax accountant. Now, if you don't have one, I've got a guy on speed dial who's been doing my taxes for 21 years. He won't charge you for advice. There's no obligation. If you want, just jot my number down, 376-5483. Call me and I'll give you Steve's number, and you can reach out to him, because he'll help you. And you need good, legitimate advice on how to handle something like that.
That is excellent advice from Bob. Yes.
Yep. All right, final question, Randy Rocky. This is a tough one for you, Randy. Bobby is applying for a mortgage in several locations. In this email, he says, she is self-employed with only 1 year of tax returns, and her debt-to-income ratio, she's been told, is 52%. And she's wondering, what will a mortgage company accept from her to give her a loan? So break it down, each part of this question.
Well,
So, yeah.
52% is not going to work, because that would be FHA, and you have to have 2 years tax returns. If you get an approval and it's automated with Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and that would usually be Freddie Mac, You can do 1 year tax returns only if it's suggested. And also, well, obviously her debt to income shows she is making money actually. So anyways, that's the long and short answer. It would have to show that it allows 1 year, which happens sometimes.
All right.
They only ask for 1 year.
So, Bobby, I'm going to give you advice again on this. I'm sorry. You need to sit down with somebody like Randy who can really roadmap what you need to do to get pre-approved and get into a house. Am I right, Randy? There's no
Yes,
two ways
that's
about
correct.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, a radio show, we do a lot, but there's a limit to how much detail and how much information. And certainly we don't want to share all your information, Bobby, with the audience. So I'll give you Randy's number in a second because we're out of time. So our thanks to you, Randy, Rocky, Swan Financial.
Thank you, Bob.
They shop the loan. They get you the best rate. Your number to call for Randy is 645-0736. Also, my thanks to she is a wealth of information on legal matters. Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. You can reach Lee anytime on her cell phone, 502-649-7964. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to help you. There's no home too big, no home too small. I work in Louisville, Southern Indiana, and surrounding counties. And you can call me for a free, no obligation discussion in person or by phone at 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form. You can contact me that way. And for a free estimate of what your home is worth, easy. Go to WeSellLouisville.com, click on the top of the page, and then just fill in the information, hit submit. Next week, 14 money-saving secrets every homeowner should know. Good information. You'll love this information. That's next week. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.